Nurse sharks are thought to take advantage of dormant fish which would otherwise be too fast for the sharks to catch. Although their small mouths limit the size of prey items, the sharks have large throat cavities which are used as a sort of bellows valve. In this way, nurse sharks are able to suck in their prey. Nurse sharks are also known to graze algae and coral. If the dream is to turn this palm-fringed corner of Hainan into a tourist trap comparable to Florida's balmy Space Coast, there is still a lot to do. Several idle building sites suggest that some investors have gambled rashly. Signs have been taken down from a patch of scrub that was once earmarked for an amusement center. Locals in central Finland are campaigning to have reindeer corralled all year round in a dispute with traditional herders. In what's been described as a reindeer rebellion, people living in North Ostrobothnia and Kainuu regions want tighter restrictions on herding, because they say that the free-range animals are damaging their crops and forests and harming their livelihoods. On 1815, on the island of Sumbawa in Indonesia, a handsome and long quiescent mountain named Tambora exploded spectacularly, killing 100,000 people with its blast and associated tsunamis. No one living now has ever seen such fury. Tambora was far bigger than anything any living human has experienced. It was the biggest volcanic explosion in 10,000 years, 150 times the size of Mount St. Helens, equivalent to 60,000 Hiroshima-sized atom bombs. Mexico City, a miner in the state of Chiapas found a tiny tree frog that has been preserved in amber for 25 million years, a researcher said. If authenticated, the preserved frog would be the first of its kind found in Mexico, according to David Grimaldi, a biologist and curator at the American Museum of Natural History, who was not involved in the find. The so-called continuing resolution keeps the government funded until 8 February in the hope that Congress can reach a longer-term budget agreement in the meantime. Thousands of federal employees who had been placed on temporary, unpaid leave since Saturday breathed a sigh of relief. The government is still not sure whether its alternative idea for the Auckland's America's Cup Village is viable, a week out from the start of the planning approval process. Auckland Council is seeking approval to build 8 bases across 3 wards, but the government was in favor of focusing on the semi-industrial Wynyard Point, to lessen the extension of wharves. The brief outline takes us to the beginning of the 20th century. The brief outline takes us to the beginning of the 20th century. Our class is divided into 2 groups, you come with me, and the others stay here. Our class is divided into 2 groups, you come with me, and the others stay here. A study shows that the people's mood can be affected by news and weather report. A study shows that the people's mood can be affected by news and weather report. The circulation desk is located on the ground floor. The circulation desk is located on the ground floor. Please come to the next seminar properly prepared. Please come to the next seminar properly prepared. You will be informed of the results by email. You will be informed of the results by email. We don't accept assignments submitted after due day. We don't accept assignments submitted after due day. The mismatch between the intended and reported uses of the instrument has become clear. The mismatch between the intended and reported uses of the instrument has become clear. The lecture will deal with the influence of technology on music. The lecture will deal with the influence of technology on music. All essays and seminar papers submitted must be emailed to your tutor. All essays and seminar papers submitted must be emailed to your tutor. This method is problematic in terms of accuracy. This method is problematic in terms of accuracy. The visiting professor is going to give a lecture for geology. The visiting professor is going to give a lecture for geology. To someone first encountering the works of William Shakespeare, the language may seem strange, but there is a secret to appreciating it. Although he was famous for his plays, Shakespeare was first and foremost a poet. One of the most important things in Shakespeare's language is his use of stress. Not that kind of stress, but the way we emphasize certain syllables and words more than others. We're so used to doing this that we may not notice it at first. But if you say the words slowly, you can easily identify them. Poets are very aware of these stresses, having long experimented with the number and order of stressed and unstressed syllables and combined them in different ways to create rhythm in their poems. Like songwriters, poets often express their ideas through a recognizable repetition of these rhythms or poetic meter. Shakespeare's favorite meter in particular was iambic pentameter, where each line of force is made up of 5 two-syllable items for a total of 10 syllables. And it's used for many of Shakespeare's most famous sonnets. Why did Shakespeare choose iambic pentameter for these moments? It's been said that iambic pentameter was easy for his actors to memorize and for the audience to understand because it's naturally suited to the English language. In the solar system, many planets have rings. Saturn's rings are the most spectacular planetary ring. Consisting of countless particles whose diameters range from microns to meters, these rings orbit the Saturn. In 1610, Galileo was the first man who spotted Saturn's rings. With his 20-power telescope, Galileo might have mistaken Saturn's gaseous ring to surmise that the Saturn system was formed of one planet with 2 moons as satellites. In 1675, Giovanni Cassini determined that Saturn's ring was actually composed of subrings with gaps among them. So the number of Saturn's rings are more than 10. Other planets like Venus, Jupiter, Neptune and Uranus also have rings but not as many as Saturn have. Finally, scientists have dedicated themselves to study the formation of Saturn rings and claim that these rings are formed by gravitational fields. Is plastic or paper easier to recycle? What is the name of the organ responsible for pumping blood in the human body? What is the term for a person who designs and constructs buildings? Which symbol is used to complete a sentence?